There's a watchtower station.
Good evening,
opposite
Gothamites.
GCPD.
Welcome back
I'm
to
taking it
Batman
down.
Arkham Knight. I think I'm supposed to say Happy Halloween. It's been a while. Today I'm joined by the reincarnation of Ryan Davis. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, it's JamieTheD. And yeah, we are getting on with Watchtowers, I believe.
Yeah, so this is the post-game. I'm going to spend the entire time tracking down... Well, this video is all going to be tracking down watchtowers and checkpoints and bombs. You know, because now we have to... Well, before we can fight Deathstroke, we have to prove we're worthy or something like that? I don't know.
Oh, it's the usual thing.
Yeah, you know, the usual. And I remember posting it in the thread. There's something like 20 checkpoints and 20 watchtowers. That's as many as 410s, and that's terrible.
Yeah, not to mention there's also a couple of serpent drones still left.
Yeah, well, those are easy enough to take out. Sometimes you get lucky with the aiming on the Batmobile, and it plays nicely and lets you knock it down, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, that's been pretty much the Arkham games all over. Sometimes the aiming will be perfect, and other times not so much.
And sometimes Arkham Origins happens.
Oh dear.
You know,
yeah.
Look, if there was one game that made me reappreciate Arkham Origins, this is it.
Yes. And it's funny you mention that, because as I recall, Rocksteady... Whoops.
Now, I jumped off purpose there because the machine gun came back online. So I had to jump down and reblind it so I could finish this fight.
Yeah, after all being filled with bullets, it sometimes offends.
Not usually good for your health, but I mean, Batman will be fine, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, Rocksteady, as I recall, made the same mistake with Origins. Exactly the same mistake, because as far as I remember, they used exactly the same porting studio.
Well, now, for Origins, Rocksteady, I don't believe, was involved with Origins, but I do know I had the game on PS3, and then I also got as part of a bundle on PC. The bugs were fully in there from the start on the PS3 as well. I remember I got it on launch day on the PS3, and the issue I had there was, well, the game kept, anytime I tried to use the Batwing to fast travel, the game crashed.
Yeah, that was an early bug. I actually succumbed to the My Alibi glitch.
Oh, I heard about that one. You warned me about that one in the thread.
Yeah. Yeah, where the world didn't load properly in the My Alibi Club. By the way, it's a bug that can still strike every now and again.
That's not okay. Come on.
No, it's not.
Oh my goodness.
As I recall, I wrote a few very angry words about it on Mad Welshman.
So, how much experience do you have with Arkham Knight?
Not an amazing amount with Arkham Knight. With the rest of the series, yes. With Arkham Knight, I've mostly just been keeping an eye on other Let's Plays and done critical writing.
Crazy! It's targeting me!
Right. So you haven't played the game aside from seeing it. You just kind of watch what's going on through others.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I'm not real sure how to feel about is all the people posting in the thread and saying, "Man, thank you for playing this so I don't have to."
On the one hand, that is a perfectly valid reason to like an LP. Even though there's obviously the occasional complaint of, this LP spoils things. It's like, you can choose not to watch it.
Yeah, no. Well, of course the LP is going to spoil things. You're playing through the game. Eventually you're going to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, but... On the other, this game was not very well received, and I've been watching. There have been times where you've struggled to be okay with certain things.
You know, and I mentioned it before. When I first saw what they did with Barbara Gordon, like I was kind of shaken. I sat here thinking, no, they're not doing this. No, that's not okay. Come on, no. And I really did have to put the game down for like a day just to kind of let it sink in and sit here and think, did they really just...
Yes.
Did they really just write off Barbara Gordon? Is this what we're doing?
Unfortunately, the fact that it's a fake fridging doesn't really help.
No. I mean, yeah, I was completely surprised, honestly. A lot of people were sitting there in the thread, and some people spoil it in the thread, you know, hey, good for you, you called it out. But then other folks were, other folks are completely caught by it, too. I mean, I really did not put together that, oh, this is probably a Scarecrow illusion. I really didn't. So when I saw her come out on the rooftop, I'm like, oh, what? Huh? What? No.
On that level, at least, it's well written.
Yeah, you know, they do a really good job of playing it straight up until the reveal.
Remaining.
So, you know, good for them.
They'll be waiting.
And, you know, I probably should have realized that, oh, hey, this is happening. It's Scarecrow stuff, but I didn't. So, you know, good for them.
Yeah, at the same time, however, this is the
militia have a
finale
checkpoint
in quite a
embedded in
trend.
Chinatown. Time to remove them.
They've not done very well with the women characters.
No, they haven't. And, you know, when Poison Ivy happened, you know, I sit here and think, well, is there anyone in this game, is there any female character this game doesn't take a dump on? Because, I mean, even Catwoman had more, what's the word, it's on the tip of my tongue. Not authority.
Agency.
Agency, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the best Riddler announcement.
Bruce Wayne. A noble effort, Batman, but did you really believe that I, the Riddler, would fall for such a nakedly implausible charade? You expect me to accept that I have invested time and agonizing time again by some spoiled trust fund-fueled hobbyist? I don't believe it. Why, I refuse to believe it. It's not true. True. Now, Batman, where were we?
Oh, Edward, when you're wrong, it's always a doozy.
And we're going to follow up the best Riddler announcement by the best checkpoint, because this guy is a special snowflake. He's down here all by himself.
I said I can't man a checkpoint on my own. No one tells me what to do. I've fought wars on just about every continent. I've been shot, stabbed, set on fire. Nothing can stop. But what about Batman? Huh, bring it on, I say. Always sneaking up, catching people off guard. Damn coward. He tries that on me and he's in for a big surprise. I won't even have to get my hands dirty. These guns will do the trick. Cut them to pieces. Not that I'm averse to a little hand-to-hand combat.
Really nothing you can say to that.
Would have been nice to do a little practicing tonight. It's not over yet. Still might get a little ass kicking in before dawn.
You know, I'm not sure if it's just unwarranted confidence or what the story here is, but come on. You should know better.
I never liked Bruce Wayne.
Well, now he does.
Charity work, the donations. You can tell he was hiding.
And man, this is just full of good conversation. Look at
Those
this.
trustworthy rich guys like Oliver Queen or Lex Luthor.
For those of you not in the know, Oliver Queen is Green Arrow, and Lex Luthor is, well, Superman's arch nemesis.
And
So, yeah.
general untrustworthy man.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne's not one of those trustworthy millionaires like Green Arrow or Lex Luthor, literal Superman. So, yeah, whatever. But the game really kind of opens up once you, as far as dialogue goes, it opens up once you have shown up as Bruce Wayne. Because that's when, you know, the Riddler starts losing even more of his mind. All the militia, all the thugs start talking about, oh, it's Bruce Wayne this whole time. Man, that'll be great. I mean, we got so much money out of Arkham City, and imagine how much money we can get out of Bruce Wayne.
The enemy is aware of our incursion and has sent a sizable force to contain. Target spotted in the canal.
Now, I love this. I love.
You like the tank fights, or
No. the tank fights I definitely don't love. I think they were just gilding the lily. But no, the whole how people are reacting to Bruce Wayne's reveal. There's a lot of good comedic lines there. I mean, Lex Luthor trustworthy.
The millionaire we deserve.
Actually, can we call this update "Everybody is Wrong"?
Yeah, we can do that. I have that power.
Let's face it, there haven't been many people who've been right in just this first 10 minutes.
No, there haven't. Deathstroke keeps thinking he can take us down. Lex Luthor is trustworthy. That guy can man a checkpoint all by himself. The Riddler called us on our bluff. He knows we're not Bruce Wayne, so good for him. I always thought he was the smartest one. Yeah, it's kind of weird though, because even in the comic books, I mean, Eddie's a smart guy. He has figured it out
Multiple times.
Yeah, at least once, possibly twice. So I'm just kind of wondering, what's the deal, Eddie? Why you gotta be like that?
Well, like I said, when Riddler's wrong, it's a doozy. Good example. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich?
Yeah. That's a lot of bullets. I took one hit there. Shame on me. I was doing so well.
Yeah. But then again, that's Cobra, was it?
The Cobras are the big stealth tanks.
Oh, right. No. The stationary one.
Yeah, I don't know if those have a particular name. I just know they kind of show up and, I remember doing the churchyard fight with Poison Ivy. One of them landed right on top of me and just fell apart instantly.
Whereas that one really didn't.
Well, that one was able to land itself. I just thought, man, I remember when it happened in the churchyard. It landed right on top of the Batmobile, caused no damage, but it just instantly self-destructed. So if I'd been sitting under that one, maybe the same thing would have happened. Who knows? I guess these things probably have static placements, so if you know where they are and you're sitting there, you can totally, not have to worry about taking them out, because they are a little bit beefy.
Oh, that's completely random aside. The thread has actually been quite amusing because about a day after somebody mentions the Red Hood, I look at the library books I've got, and the libraries here have graphic novel sections, and I hadn't gotten round to it, but I had gotten that Red Hood book without even realizing it.
The Under the Red Hood?
That's the one.
Oh, nice. I think Under the Red Hood, I only saw
no. It wasn't Under the Red Hood. It was the Outlaws one. The bad one.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so...
The one people talked about.
The one people talked about.
For people who aren't following the thread, it's all about how, I know it's, I think it's Jason Todd Arsenal, who is, what's his name? Green Arrow's old sidekick.
Yep.
And it's Coriander, a.k.a. Starfire.
Yeah. Yeah, an Amnesiac Starfire.
It's an Amnesiac Starfire. That's even better. Cool. Why not?
It's not good.
Well, how could it not be good? It has all those standbys of comic book telling, like, obviously, as a Tamaranian, Starfire is totally sexual.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because that's always something that goes well in comic books. Always. It never goes badly, ever. I didn't mean to cut off that conversation, but I did. Oh well.
No, it's fun. It's it was more friendly neighborhood dudes.
See, usually whenever you come by these checkpoints or wherever for the first time, they usually have good conversation, or at least something saying they're here. I remember there was one checkpoint I passed by when I was trying to save some progress as far as making upgrades goes. And it's two guys talking about how he got exposed to some of the fear gas, and now he's having all these flashbacks of all this crap from the war. Now this is something I meant to look up. Cosnia.
Kill, maybe. Look, I just shoot who they say, okay?
Because a lot of times they'll mention things in these little conversations, and there'll be some interesting little interesting things pop up as far as, oh, it's a nice little nod to this thing. And this one, Cosnia is, let me see here, I'm looking this up now. Oh, that's right. It appeared a lot in the animated series. It was in Batman and the Superman animated series, but what people might remember it from is the Season 2 Justice League. Vandal Savage, the immortal guy, was trying to marry a princess there. Yeah, that's Cosnia.
Two watchtowers still standing.
And then when they did Justice League Unlimited, they had this one episode with Hawk and Dove, and that was where they popped up in as well.
And Deathstroke, have you completely forgotten everything?
So it's funny because one of the Gotham City stories that I pulled up, I think it's inside the police station. You have to scan his picture inside the communications room.
Yeah.
It pulls up all this information on, he's sitting here watching the tank fight with the Cloudburst tank happen, and he's sitting here, mentally calling, the Arkham Knight an idiot for, letting this happen. You're letting this happen. And then the tank gets destroyed, but this whole time, like, it's going on talking about how Deathstroke is having, like, these nervous shakes. Like, he remembers the last time he fought Batman, and he remembers getting wrecked. So he just keeps sharpening this knife over and over again, trying to be, maybe get rid of some of the nervous jitters. And Scarecrow comes in line and says, oh, hey, it's time. And then Deathstroke stops sharpening the knife and says, oh, guess it's sharp enough now.
Not if. Okay, whatever.
Interesting. Also interesting was that Riddler quote. Because as far as I'm aware, that's actually a reference to The Last Laugh.
I don't think I've seen The Last Laugh.
The Last Laugh, somebody tells Joker he's got brain cancer.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that goes down well.
As these things tend to do. I don't think that one was specifically a reference to Last Laugh, as much as it was just Riddler being smug about planting bombs in people's heads. So this is one of those fights where there's a little bit too much going on for me to do it very effectively. Because what I would like to do is take out these thugs, the brutes first, because the brutes, man, these guys are an absolute punch in the dick.
Weapon changes, aren't they?
See, the weapon changers I'm not so worried... I'm not worried about the weapon changes, it's just their attacks, especially when they don't have any weapons out, come out ridiculously fast. And I'm just having a trouble... I think I've found that if they have a shield up as far as their weapon goes, you can't do the effective takedown on them, which is the back claw takedown.
Yeah.
But you can still do this special combo takedown, which you have to actually do twice on these guys. Because I guess they're just extra beefy. They're made of beef. Which, hey, good for them.
I mean, there are worse things to be made.
See right there, if they don't have any weapons equipped, their punches just come out extremely fast, and they hurt. And then there's all these guys with shields, and all these guys with stun rods, and it is just an absolute... yeah.
Buster plug.
Yeah. Usually, if I can, I try to take out these guys first, but it doesn't always work. The only way this fight would be worse is if there was a medic involved.
This is true.
Because if there was a medic involved, they would be electrocuting guys left and right, and it would just be... it wouldn't be good for me.
You get the start of one of those takedowns. Beatdowns.
Yeah, because the beatdowns are the recommended way of taking care of them. I don't think there is another way, aside from doing special combo takedowns, but that's okay, it's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they're much like big guys in earlier segments.
Yeah, and I mean, lucky them, they are still completely weak to the Batmobile. In fact, I'm pretty sure, if you're clever, you can drive the Batmobile over that balcony into this area, and just kind of, spin a donut and wipe everybody out.
3 checkpoints remaining.
I think that's what I
I'll take
did
them
the
all.
first time I did this.
Occupation's hanging on by a thread, sir.
Yeah, right there on the left side is a
You
ramp,
always were
and
one of the best.
if you angle it right, you can just cruise right on in here. It's fun. you know, you just well, you know, why fight fair? Just bring a tank to a fist fight. I'm pretty sure that's fighting fair, right?
Yeah.
And it's gone. Oh man, I haven't pulled this game up in probably 2 weeks. I don't think I've showed off any of these yet. So
no, these Riddler sensor trails.
Yeah, so whenever you see one of those, you have to use the Batmobile sensor to try and follow the lines of question marks, and it's kind of irritating. Because it's not always very clear where they're going. If you stop tracing it, sometimes the question marks start disappearing, so you have to go all the way back to the start, and some of these things go in some pretty weird directions. And even if you know where this particular one that you're tracing out goes to, you can't just
still got to actually trace the path.
Yeah. But it's an interesting idea. I like it.
It is.
It's just,
of course,
it's just as with so many things in Arkham Knight, it's the execution that leaves something to be desired.
Yeah. Yeah, for example, they only appear to be triggering a certain distance away, not a distance.
Right. You would think, oh, the entire thing is like a 360, or it would go so far, but no, it doesn't. So, as a person who does game reviews, what's your overall take on Arkham Knight?
It's not a great game, but it's instructively not a great game. People can actually learn lessons from this game. For example, even though they did a good thing by cutting down the amount of Riddler stuff to do, it's still too open, and that affects the game flow a hell of a lot.
I don't even know. They did cut down the Riddler stuff, but at the same time,
they also introduced lots of other stuff.
They did. They introduced a lot of other bloat. So I can understand, you know, people might have complained in Arkham City, 440 Riddler trophies, you gotta be kidding me. But, you know, even for this game, people saw 243 Riddler trophies, you gotta be kidding me.
And part of that is that people were starting to get tired of the Riddler thing as a mechanic overall.
Yeah, I could see that. But so then, you know, I kind of sit here and look at it, and, you know, I've played every one of these games except for Arkham Origins Blackgate to completion, because you can't pay me enough to play that game. Again. Yeah, no, I got it on a Steam sale, and it's not a very good game. It's I mean, it shows. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was originally designed to be on mobile devices. But the simplicity of the gameplay shows, and it's not as many bad decisions as were popped into this game, but there's a few.
Yeah.
So what would you say are some of the educational lessons to be taken from this game?
How not to do an open world. I mean, there are good bits in this open world, but overall, it's a case of how not to do it. How not to pace a story, because those side missions really broke things up. And dear God, how not to treat your women characters. I mean, that's a complaint that pretty much every critic I know has come up with, but
do another one of those emergency repairs. You know.
Yeah.
Hashtag just Batmobile things.
Now, that's actually a good thing. You know, the upgrade system actually works. The upgrade system is interesting. Not all of the upgrades are good, but the upgrade system overall works.
Well, you know, it's especially better as compared to Arkham Origins.
Yeah. But another thing to mention is a lot of this was fixing what wasn't broke from City.
Yeah, and that's a thing too. I mean, it's kind of like the change from Uncharted 2 to Uncharted 3.
Yes.
You know, going from Uncharted 2 to Uncharted 3, you know, Uncharted 2 was, you know, really great game and it improved on Uncharted 1 in so many ways. And then you had Uncharted 3 happen and it was essentially more of the same but with a different story. That wasn't a bad thing.
And it's funny you mention Uncharted 3 because that's actually one of the example games mentioned in a book that I quite recommend called What the Fuck is Wrong with Video Games.
Go on.
And the reason it's mentioned is because we're seeing this a lot more obviously now that we've got early access and Kickstarters and the like. But development has often been around an idea rather than a story. So, for example, Dead Space is another good example where one of the marketing blurbs that came out was, "The theme of the game is dismemberment."
Get us out of here!
Well, you know, that's not always a bad thing, necessarily.
No, but it's important to recognize, because sometimes, you know, for example, here we have bits that are definitely where the story is second to the gameplay.
Yeah, I do need to hop in and explain this one real quick. So I'm hooked up to a power winch that automatically always charges your energy up to the maximum level. And so eventually what it's going to come to is all of the question marks are going to light up.
So basically, keep holding lockdown.
Yeah, pretty much. But even with the times 10 missile barrage, at least one of these doesn't get marked, so you still need to go over and shoot it.
Which is clever. That's actually a well-designed one.
Good job, Riddler. Make me think for it.
But Uncharted 3, it took a very sudden plot detour, didn't it?
I'm trying to remember which one.
The ship.
Yes. Oh, wow, yeah, that was...
Yeah,
that happened.
From, what was it, the Yemen desert?
Yeah, I think you were in the... No, wasn't it the other way around? I don't remember which one happened first.
It was from the Sahara to some ship graveyard.
Yeah, you were stuck in the desert, and then all of a sudden, you're in... No, I thought the ship happened first. It's been a long time since I played the game.
It was in between, actually.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, just all of a sudden, you're in the middle of this ship graveyard, and don't get me wrong, it was a really cool set piece, but... why?
And the answer is very simple, because it was designed first.
Yeah, and I could see that. I mean, they did something similar for Uncharted 2, where, you know, they designed their set piece, you know, that gigantic train chase set piece. And don't get me wrong, it's a really cool set piece, but it also fit into the narrative.
Yeah.
And that's not always something you see with some of these other games. But, you know, going from the desert to the middle of the ocean, and you're on a cruise liner, and hey, you know, again, it's a really cool set piece, but why are we here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, more firefighters.
Well, at least, you know, you could take the tank to the gunfight there.
Yeah, you know, I'm almost making it more even. Almost. So, if I had to complain about one of the side quests more than others, it's probably this firefighter one, just because it's not always very clear where the firefighters are. Every once in a while, you'll get some intel on the mission screen saying, oh hey, they found this firefighter here.
But there's more of you out
And
there still
if
in
you're
danger.
flying around the city in detect mode, sometimes you'll see a suspicious group of people that are just kind of standing around, and it kind of stands out. And that is one thing I will give the game is, even for the checkpoints and the watchtowers and everything else, if you zoom in on something from a distance, it will mark it for you so you can come back to it later.
Yeah.
So,
a feature that's thankfully been in the series since almost the beginning.
well, especially when the game is this open, it's a lot more necessary.
Oh yeah.
Just because, you know, even though people might have complained about how Arkham Origins just took, you know, Arkham City and made it about twice as big, which it pretty much literally did. In this game, it's a bit more... I think they said Arkham Knight is about 5 times the size of Arkham City.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more necessary. But there's just so many strange decisions in this game that I don't quite get. You know, stuff like, why do we have to treat the women like crap? Why is the bat tank so integral to everything?
Now that is a bit of a complicated answer, and it's not just the whole set piece thing, it's also the fact that it's at least partly our fault.
Yeah, because we have been asking for the Batmobile. We saw it in Arkham Asylum and we're like, oh man, that's so cool, I want to do that.
Yeah.
But a tank?
But at the same time, one of the other things I would say to learn from is when you introduce a feature like that, don't let it dominate.
Because it did dominate in a whole lot of spaces. It just kept popping up over and over again. You know, I know a lot of people, especially for the, and then you have the Cloudburst tank. I mean, what is that? Come on.
Yeah. That's... But one other thing I often... now I remember catching this...
Yeah, this one is super irritating, but
Yeah.
I do get it, so that's not a problem. It's just going to take me a little longer. What it is there's a panel on the other side of this that you have to activate with the remote hacking device to open that. And if you're not quick about it, all the question marks will disappear and you have to start all the way back from Wayne Tower. Yeah, that's a thing. But you know, all this stuff about the Cloudburst tank, is there any way to salvage the Cloudburst tank fight? What would have made it better?
That is a genuinely tough question. Because on the one hand, it's a multi-stage boss fight.
It is, but I think it's only 3 stages, and I mean, one of them is basically just take out the support.
Yeah, it is only 3 stages. I think that final stage really was the biggest pain in the ass.
Now, the biggest problem I had is just that all the tanks they had appeared in such saturation that it became impossible to even break into. Because I remember I spent maybe 10 minutes just trying to figure out where to start.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a... Don't get me wrong, you know, one of the ways to create difficulty is to just increase the enemy count, but... Is that what we want to go with?
Yeah, no, that's not generally a good way to increase difficulty. For example, there's something I'm reviewing at the moment. It's going to be coming out of early access soon. 20XX, a Mega Man procedurally generated game.
Huh, that sounds interesting.
It does sound interesting, but unfortunately...
It sounds like it could have a lot of pitfalls.
It is falling to those pitfalls. It's a 0.952B. And fucking bats!
Well, I mean, one of the things, and I'll admit, I've never been very good at Mega Man games, but it seems like one of those things where Mega Man games, they benefit from playing them often, and from level memorization to a certain extent.
Yes. Yeah, they benefit from a pre-generated level that you can... It's like a puzzle game.
Yeah, and especially if you have the levels pre-generated, that makes it a lot easier for the developers, whoever else, to really bug test the levels and make sure they flow right and make sure everything goes across really well. But if you have something procedurally generated, you can't bug test the levels to the same extent.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's badly procedurally generated, then you have stuff like, oh, I can't proceed because these blocks are laid out in the exact wrong way to not allow me to proceed.
Now, luckily they've gotten past that. What they haven't gotten past is making that a right royal pain in the rear end.
Oh, yeah.
So... imagine a conveyor belt with fire in it.
Well, cretinous crusader, I can't help but notice there's still a set of human time bombs ticking away on the fine streets of Gotham. You really can't face the rigmarole of saving them, can you?
See, now I kind of want, as much as I like Cretinous Crusader, I kind of have to worry if this is like he's reading the player's mind, when the player's sitting here thinking, really, I have to keep doing all this crap? Oh.
And there's actually a writing term for it. I wanted to mention this back when Catwoman said, I'm not your, I'm not some prize to be fought over, I believe the line was.
Explosive located in Riker Heights.
There's actually a writing term for it, and it's called a cry for help. Basically, it's when the writer knows that what they've written is a problem.
And yet, here we are.
And yet, here we are. I've done the same thing with pacing every now and again. I've written a line, and an editor has turned around and gone, yeah, you knew the pacing for this was wrong because of this line here.
Yeah, you can usually tell when somebody's scrambling. But it's not always
good.
It's not always a choice you have. Sometimes you have no choice but to scramble. Just because, I mean, word counts or requirements or...
Yeah, requirements, funnily enough, is what I was going to mention, because one of the other things I've been mentioning again and again on the thread is, unfortunately, untangling what happened with Arkham Knight and even Arkham Origins is very difficult because, well, there's so many fingers in the pie. You know, there's actually a game called The Writer Will Fix Everything. And it's a Twine game, and again, I recommend it because it shows you what it's like to be a writer at a game development company. It's not fun.
You know, and that's because a lot of times you're writing at game development companies, the writing comes second to the story, or the story comes second to the development. Yeah. And that's not necessarily a good thing. I mean, I can understand it. I understand the mentality behind it. But
in cases like this, yeah. So, for example, you know, people have been complaining about the Joker jacking. Very possibly that's some Warner Brothers executive going, we must keep our brand identity.
Now, something I do want to mention as far as Joker jacking goes is in the Arkham Knight thread, or in the Batman Arkham thread in the game subforum, there's a poster, Imp Adam, and this is posted many months ago, mentioned that essentially the Arkham games are the story of the Batman and the Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, even more so than it is any other character. The characters that keep popping up, that keep hogging everything, I mean, it's always Batman and it's always Joker, and it's about their relationship. I mean, it really seems to be.
It is.
But, you know, when I looked at it that way, a lot of things made more sense. You know, if you're going to pick one Batman villain to do over and over again, I mean, you could do worse than the Joker. The Joker's usually an interesting enough character to carry being you know, Batman's obsession for a game. Just because there's so many different ways to come at him, there's so many different ways to tackle it. There's so many different ways to say, oh, it's Batman, he's doing this, he's doing that. Oh, and the Joker changed again. Just because everybody does the Joker differently. Even if it is the same way differently.
Yeah, now this is the counterpoint, unfortunately. The counterpoint being that, yeah, it's been done a lot of times. The Last Laugh, The Killing Joke, Beware the Creeper, the most recent Crisis, where he literally became a god of some kind.
I don't even remember. I think I read Infinite Crisis and Final Crisis, but beyond that, I've kind of lost it.
Yeah, I've stopped keeping track of crises.
I haven't read anything in the New 52, which I don't feel bad at all about.
There are some good things in the New 52.
I've heard they've made some good ones. Yeah.
For example, Grayson is hilarious.
I've heard Grayson's been one of the ones that I've heard is really good, but the rest of it, I don't know. I've never been a big.
Been a decidedly mixed bag.
Yeah, I've never been much of a comic book guy to begin with, so dodging in on most of it isn't bugging me. And here's the real question: can you see what we're supposed to do here yet? Because I still haven't.
I do, but that's only because I've seen it before. You very briefly
It's popped up.
saw it.
It's popped up in flashes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird because I've done this before. I have beaten this game before, I promise.
Oh,
It's just been, shoot, this game came out, almost a year ago.
I've done the same thing in, the Elder Scrolls games. You know, I've done this quest before, What am I meant? Oh.
Yeah, I last time I played this game was about a year ago. I think I started up briefly when they started coming out with some of the DLC. And there it is.
There we go.
Yeah. I started up briefly again when they started doing the DLC for the races. For, like, the classic Batmobile races, but I hadn't really touched it since then, until I started up the LP here. And actually, I still have quite a chunk of recording to do because I have all of the combat maps that I plan on recording done, but I haven't done the same thing for the Predator maps yet. And there's still all of these. There's still a whole bunch of Batmobile. It's either just straight up tank fights or combination race and tank fights. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do them either.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean with
Starting to think you've got the guts to face me.
Yeah, don't know why I came down here. Oh, hello. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yep, ain't got time for that. But
No,
I'm not sure if I'm going to. Like, I might just delete the rest of these combat maps, just because, whatever. You get the gist. It's the same combat. It's the same thing.
Well, yes and no.
Some of the Predator maps actually do get a little interesting because they do dual play. And they have a combination dual play between Batman and Nightwing. They have a combination between Batman and Robin. And I'm pretty sure they have one between Robin and Nightwing as well.
Creator and God. I literally programmed a basic religion into those malfunctioning blasphemers.
I really think Eddie needs some help, but he probably knows that.
Yeah. He's needed help for a while.
He has, but it's one of those things that's become really apparent in Arkham Knight is just, you know, he may have started out with some basic problems, you know, OCD and whatever else he's got going on, but it's come pretty far.
Yeah. He's gotten worse as the series progressed. And yeah, we were talking earlier about how it's very hard to, you know, say, oh, it's the writer or it's the programmer or because it really is that much of a fustercluck. You know, just one area could have the programmer having input, could have level designers having input, artists having input, music, sound guys, some folks from marketing might have said a random thing, and all of a sudden, oh my god, now we have to have this thing.
Yeah, and it's one of those things I kind of look at it too, and I think, you know, stuff like one of the DLC missions is the Scarecrow missions, which are just, you know, you racing through a fear-blasted Gotham City in the Batmobile and fighting, you know, this gigantic Scarecrow and all that. I'm sitting here wondering, you know, was that originally the plan for when Gotham was encased in fear? It's possible.
It is entirely possible, but as noted, it's very difficult to find out. Dogs are going berserk.
That just means they like you. All dogs are good dogs. But it's one of those things I sit here and look at it and I think, well, was that originally part of the plan, was to have that happen? So what made them think, oh, this would be better as DLC, or what made them think it isn't going to fit in the rest of our narrative? You know? And at what point do they make that decision to say, well, we're moving this out now and we're making this DLC and this and that? It's for me not having anything to do with game development or game writing. It's just one of those things I think about. I wonder why was this the idea?
And very often there's no clear answer to that. You know, good example, why would this be released here? generally, this would be, rush forward for this date because the marketing team said, hey, this would be a good time to sell where we're not going to face too much competition.
Sure, I could see that. You might rush a project, you might rush something out the door and it's not exactly complete.
Yeah. That's one of the things that we game writers do actually try and crusade against, is crunch.
Yeah. So, then I have 2 questions. One is, where do you think the Arkham series goes from here? Is this it? Are we done?
Theoretically, it's it. They've told the arc they want to. They've brought it to a conclusion, and to be fair, I'm okay with most of the conclusion. We'll talk about that in thread when we get there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get the Nightfall Protocol, which,
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of possibilities there. I mean, you've got stuff like, you have Arkham Origins Blackgate. Whether you like the game or not, it does have some interesting things in it. It lays a lot of ground for stuff like Suicide Squad.
Oh, they're probably going to cash in on Suicide Squad in any
absolutely.
case, yeah.
You know, with that game coming out, or with that movie coming out, I should say, is it possible they're going to take the Arkham mechanics, I'll say, and turn it into a Suicide Squad game somehow?
I wouldn't actually say that's outside the realm of possibility, because we're already starting to see... Oh, well done, Doug. We're already starting to see games try and get bits and bobs from the formula.
Yeah, because you've got games like Shadow of Mordor.
Yep.
Is Batman Middle-earth.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll talk. Just don't hurt me.
Good.
So it's entirely possible. Whether Rocksteady will have anything to do with it, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Rocksteady's pretty insistent that this is their last Arkham game, but they were also pretty insistent that the Arkham Knight was a new character, so...
Well, their marketing department was insistent that the Arkham Knight was a new character, and that was technically true.
Yeah, sure, we'll give it to them. Why not?
This is one of the things I've found when dealing with hype. Always deal with what is technically true.
I guess.
Good example. Rage. Yeah. All the technical specs that were mentioned were correct. It's just there was next to fuck all in those several kilometers. And on top of that, they didn't put a proper ending in.
Well, I mean, games don't really need endings. Come on.
So, yeah, I was actually at Eurogame when Tim Willits was giving his Lineage of Awesome speech.
I haven't heard this one. Tell me more.
Basically, he went all the way from the Catacomb games by John Carmack. We like to call this the great-grandfather of awesome. Wolfenstein, Doom, Quake, Rage, and as this lineage of awesome, and then Rage.
One militia watchdog.
Yeah, no, he went through all these things. I think Carmack started with Commander Keen as well. I've been watching the Let's Play 20 Years of Doom just popped up as a thread recently, and
this, funnily enough, allows me to talk about what ID do well. ID have always been ahead of the curve technically, and even Commander Keen, although you may not believe it, was ahead of the curve technically.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. When that game came out, it was something nobody expected to see on computers, because at that time, I mean, I think the consoles were doing a pretty good job of it by then, but on the PCs they were still having trouble doing that sort of scrolling screen thing.
Yeah. Yeah, smooth scrolling was absolutely god-awful on home computers. On PCs specifically, the C64 had already solved it. But of course, you know, different systems, different solutions.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The whole island with these guns. So that's what we're gonna
And, yeah, they did it by the same way that C64 guys would have, by cheating.
Hey, now, it's not cheating, it's just creatively using your resources.
Yes, sir.
That's correct. That's the essence of programming.
Stay alert.
Yeah, I'm not much of a programmer. I do more, I'm more of a network engineer, so I just plug things in. Other people can do stuff with it.
Well, I actually had my start with 8-bit systems like C64, so yeah, I know a fair bit about cheating.
So then, I guess my other question, you know, is if this, you know, beyond this being the last Arkham game, more than likely. But my other question then is this the Batman and Robin of our time?
Ooh, no, I'd say that
I don't
honor
think
goes
it
to.
is, but...
I'd say that honor goes to Origins, really.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say that this is possibly the only game that could make me look back on Arkham Origins fondly. Just because, you know, people may complain about the Joker jacket, and there were some really weird bugs that cropped up. But Arkham Origins still felt more focused than Arkham Knight does.
True.
Batman just hit a
But-
serpent drone.
At the same time, even though we've promised not to talk about the conclusion until we get there, it is a conclusion.
It is. Yeah, there's that. I mean, if that's what you base your conclusions on, yes, there is that.
Yeah, you know, and it does eventually tie things together. The main thing is that it has a very unfocused middle.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't thinking super clearly when I thought, is this the Batman Robin of our time? But you gotta admit, it makes for a nice question.
It does make for a nice question. It's very, it's a question that pops.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things, I'm pretty sure it's not. I mean, Arkham Knight is not altogether a lousy game.
No.
It just makes bad decisions.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite lines from this.
Yeah, I think if there's a line to stick with, that is definitely a good one.
Just because there's so many odd decision choices. Stuff like, you know, why is the Batmobile such a focus? Or things like, why the treatment of women? I know that one's going to keep coming up, and even when I started this LP, I knew exactly what was going to happen. That was always going to be an absolute storm whenever it happened, and here we are.
Yeah, it's I don't actually think the worst one was Barbara.
No? What was your what do you think was the best moment?
Notice I said worst, not best.
Yeah, no, I know. I said that on purpose.
Okay.
All right. What do you think was the best moment of the game, and what was the worst moment of the game, then?
Now, worst moment first, that would be Francine Langstrom.
You think so?
Just discarded. Just not a single word, just...
Yeah, and not even paid attention to beyond that, aside from saying, "Oh, we finally captured Man-Bat. Yeah, your wife is dead. Sorry."
Yeah. But best bit,
I'll cover you.
it's a little more difficult. I personally say it's
Come on, buddy,
the
wake
conclusion of
up.
the Azrael questline.
Because this game did do things wrong, or this game did do things right. Don't get me wrong. Like, the combat is still solid. The combat is still as solid as Arkham has ever been.
Yeah.
It's just the details.
The details. And the devil's always in the details.
I should probably mention I'm not going to survive this. We're going to have to go through this again.
Yeah.
These invisible guys kind of threw a rock in my plans.
But, you know, for all that they were recycling the hell out of a pretty standard Asriel storyline, they still did it well.
Yeah, because, it's not like they treated Asriel's story, I'll call it honestly. They treat his story honestly.
Yeah.
He is what he is. He is this, brainwashed assassin for the church, I guess I'll call him.
You're a hunter, Batman.
But
You're good, but this is a different kind
when I
of
heard
war.
gorilla, I thought it was a different kind of gorilla. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Asriel is, this church assassin. That is what he is. Just, you just got to roll with it. But at the same time, I like that the game gives you some choice. And I really wish I knew about the ability to go back to a different autosave earlier. Oh yeah, here's something worth mentioning. Even after you take down the Arkham Knight, you can still use the voice synthesizer. And then they'll be like, "Oh, the boss is back! Hell yeah!" And then that happens. But they treat Asriel honestly, and I can't argue with that. It's true to his character. It's true to his characterization. It's just, this is who he is. Yeah. But I wish I knew about the autosaves earlier, so that I could have gone back and redone the Ra's al Ghul choice.
Yeah. Just
because that one is really. Now I did it the other way on my, because right before I started this LP is the first time that I did it. Maybe I think I started this in March. Maybe around mid-February is when I started playing the game again, just to make sure I'm up to practice. And I did, I sided with Nissa not Nissa al Ghul, Nissa Rokto. Rotko? Nissa whatever. And it has you destroy the Lazarus machine, you have to fight some of the loyalist ninjas, and then you take Ra's al Ghul to prison.
And he tells you how proud he was of you.
Yeah, he literally says, "Proud of you, detective," and I'm dead.
I got it! We actually killed him!
Almost made it.
Good ragdoll, though.
But yeah, and he's sitting there in the maximum security wing off to the side.
You used to
and he says, "Proud of you, detective." I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of a dick move." Well, no, you're not. Come on, don't lie to me. But I figured, I'll go ahead and see the way it plays out the other way. In the actual story, just because that seems like a dumb idea, but I didn't anticipate the way it was going to turn out, and man, that is where the first time people in the thread started coming out and saying, "What? No, come on, what? No, what? No."
Yeah. No, I perfectly understand, and of course, now the "proud of you" comment kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
To an extent. I mean, the entire thing they're trying to put there is that no matter what decision Batman makes, there's still going to be blood on his hands. I can kind of get that, I guess.
But at the same time, Ra's is proud of you for, well, letting him die.
I don't think that's what he's going with. I think he's going with, "I'm proud of you for finally giving up on your ideals."
You reckon?
I think so. I think that's where he's going with it. I mean, you could read it the other way, but you have to figure, as soon as you resuscitate Ra's, he goes straight back on his killing spree of, I don't tolerate any what's the word, dissidents in the league? Yeah. So I really don't think, he's going "proud of you" because, you are letting him die. He would prefer to live forever. But maybe he's, and that's another part of it too, is maybe he is proud of you because he's not having Lazarus cloud his mind and make him go crazy. Because even in Arkham City, he realizes, yeah, this Lazarus stuff, it's probably not good for me. I'm kind of worried what's going to happen next time. There's a lot of different readings to take from it, but I'm pretty sure no matter how you decide to read it, giving Ra's the Lazarus goo is the worst decision.
Oh yeah.
That's not the right decision in any world.
Yeah.
And yet here we are. But I'm glad I figured out how to, somebody in the thread mentioned it, I don't recall the name at this time. You can go back and reload a previous autosave. And I did that with the Asriel side quest, but the problem was, you're never too sure exactly how far back it's going to take you.
Yeah.
So I think I did the Asriel one right after I finished off the Penguin side quests. But then as part of finishing off the Penguin side quest, I had to go back and refinish the Penguin side quest. because my autosave took me that far back.
Yeah.
So I had to go here and think, oh, well, now I'm going to miss some stuff because I'm going to miss some dialogue because I fly too close to a checkpoint, or this is going to happen, or that's going to happen, and it did.
Now there's a thing for maybe game developers who are watching this Let's Play, because let's face it, there's some out there. There's a thing to think about.
I mean, I can understand your autosaves being very vicious in like the Telltale games, just because those games are all about making your choices and living with them.
Oh yeah.
But in this game, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here, and you don't necessarily want to go through to a New Game Plus to see everything, because that's a lot of game time.
So perhaps a special autosave at some points.
Yeah, call it a decision point or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. That's something to think about in the future.
It probably won't happen, but it's a thought.
Yeah, it's still nice to, you know.
The boss is back! Knew he wouldn't abandon us.
Yes,
Whatever you say.
the boss would never lead you astray. You got it, minigunner guy. Oh, he's just so eager.
I know. Not dead.
You fight like an old man. Where's the fury gone?
Where's the fury gone, indeed? I don't know. Maybe it's over here.
Sure the generator's powered down.
Roger that.
This is the fun part. You're just like, oh, I wonder what's... So, something that will happen is if you use the voice synthesizer too much, eventually they'll tell him to switch channels and it won't work. But it will also get interrupted if they see somebody's been downed recently. So, he's not following the direction right now, he's just kind of wandering in this direction. But...
Still worked.
I'll take it.
And that's the good element of the stealth throughout the Arkham series. It's always about opportunities.
And you know what? You can get into the same rut of using the same takedowns over and over, but the game really shines when you start screwing with people.
You think you
Yeah, pretty much.
these men? They've got a real commander now.
I could have done something fancy with this last guy, but I'm like, yeah, you know, whatever. I haven't done one of these punch-outs in a while.
And they are fun.
You just have to make sure you've got plenty of time to do them, otherwise you're going to get interrupted, and that's just rude. So I believe this is the last watchtower.
This would indeed be the last one. So, yeah, it's been fun to be here.
It's been a trip. We talked about a lot of Batman stuff. It's always nice to get some sort of slight insider view on the game development process.
Only a slight one. I mean, I'm a reviewer, not a developer.
So, thank you very much for joining
You're
me.
a hard man to kill.
And we'll see you next time, Gothamites.
Kept raiding our camp in Troubadour.
Take care.
We got him eventually. Nailed his head to a wall.
One chance, Slade. Leave Gotham. Now.
I don't think so. You've done good work on my towers, I admit, but we still control the roads. And I've got an army of drones ready to tear you apart on the ground.